Okay, start ko na ba?
Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah,
Na-8
game.
na, game,
Okay.
game.
Hello mga katambay. I'm
Shut up!
BB. I'm bbshawol. So, just a background lang, just so you know, who's talking na. I've been filing and handling taxes since 2016. I've handled the taxes of 3 small businesses that I was a part of, and I also handle my own taxes as a registered non-licensed professional. And nag-handle rin ako ng mga government compliance such as SSS, PhilHealth, and Pagibig. And I gained my knowledge about taxes through basically research, attending seminars, consulting professionals on the field, and basically experience by really going to mga government offices themselves and consulting yung mga people there. So basically, DIY talaga yung approach ko. Hindi ako certified public accountant or licensed tax professional. Actually, yung course ko sobrang layo sa business, and it's not even accounting and stuff like that. So nasa social sciences ako kasi. So, but yun,
Social sciences.
history,
What the
history yung course ko. So, but I do have the knowledge and experience to back up what I'm going to share. Hindi lang ako rando sharing about taxes. So, so what I'm going to cover tonight would be first, why register and pay for taxes? Bakit nga ba? um, mga taxes payable usually for freelancers, some tax filing platforms that are available, general tips and experiences, and some resources you can look into. So before anything else, I just want to differentiate, what this is and what this isn't. So what this is going to be is an overview on freelance taxes, and basically my tips and experiences from being a business compliance consultant. And what this isn't, it's not licensed professional advice, it's not tailored tax advice, and it's not a step by step on how to register or how to file your taxes kasi madugo yun eh. Madugo yun kasi. So, ayun. So first, so bakit nga ba? Bakit pa ba ako mag-register? Kasi alam ko nakakawalang gana mag-register in this political climate of ours. And pero I mean may mga benefits rin to registering as a freelancer, and reasons why you should. So I'll be listing some of them down. So first of all, useful siya for mga documents, like yung mga things needed for visa and loan applications kasi usually nagre-require sila ng ITR. I mean, okay sana kung employed ka rin, if you kasi you automatically get an ITR. Pero kung freelance yung sole income mo, ede kung hindi ka registered, wala kang document. So it really helps to register in order to get an ITR. Kasi hindi ka makakakuha ng ITR for your freelance pag hindi ka registered with the BIR. So next, another reason is having having a higher chance of securing bigger clients. Kasi generally, big companies in the Philippines, like yung mga Ayala, ganun, they generally require their suppliers to have official receipts. And they tend to prefer freelancers who have receipts versus those who don't. Kasi wala, kailangan nila ng receipts for documentation and for tax purposes. So another reason is penalties are worse if you don't register and BIR gets a hold of it. Penalties are already steep enough when you're filing taxes. For example, if mag-file ka ng just 1 day late, super steep na yung penalty, as in 1,000 na agad yung penalty. Yan yung compromise penalty, and that's if you file late. If you don't, pero if like you don't register, hindi ko alam kung ano yung penalty for that, but generally it's worse if you don't register. So better to be safe and register na lang. And then also it's your civic duty, and your taxes pay for public services. Ideally it pays for public services. Alam ko naman na it feels like our taxes are lining the pockets of corrupt government officials. Pero ayun, iniisip ko lang is na these taxes pay for public services. And I mean, for example, if I don't really use it, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's someone else who does. Ayun. So, next, yung mga taxes payable na yun for mga freelancers. So, first of all, Ay, hala. Ayan. First, we have the registration fee. This is not only paid when you first register as a freelancer. Um, you also pay that every year. Parang renewal fee siya. Pero it's not that expensive naman. Parang 500 pesos lang naman. So, usually you pay that by January 31st of every year. So, so this is basically how the form looks like, yung 0605. It's a general payment form for that. And then, um, so generally kasi for freelancers, may options on how you pay your income tax. There's an 8% flat rate versus the graduated rate. The 8% flat rate is actually a pretty new development. Excuse me. It was made specifically for self-employed individuals, and but this can be only applied for those who are non-VAT, meaning you're earning below 3 million pesos a quarter, which I think is most freelancers naman are earning below 3 million pesos a quarter. So it is really used to simplify tax returns for them kasi medyo honestly convoluted yung tax process natin. So sad, even for freelancers and mga self-employed people. It doesn't require you to itemize your deductions for your tax returns. Like, di mo kailangan i-itemize yung cost of sales and operational expenses. So, as far as I know, kasi ako personally, hindi ako 8% flat rate. I do the graduated rate. um, you just pay for income tax and at a flat rate of 8% of your taxable income in excess of 250,000. So, for example, nagka-gross earning ka ng 1 million. So, subtract 250. So, shucks. How to math? What's that? What 1 million minus 250 is 800 something, I think. So yeah, so you get 8% of that. So yan yung how much tax you have to pay. And something important to note for the 8% flat rate is you have to register at the start of the year to avail of that. Pero otherwise, like you do the graduated rate, which I'll be talking about. So under that, you have to pay percentage tax, which is 3% of your gross earnings. And this is every quarter. Dati every month siya, pero I think under train law, naging every quarter na lang kasi para mas madali for taxpayers. And then, ito yung form 2551Q. And then, income tax. So, merong tax matrix. Um, basically ito, I guess you can just maybe look at it in the video na lang. I don't want to explain it na kasi medyo complicated siya. But yeah, basically, for example, like if you're not earning 250,000 in a quarter, hindi mo kailangan magbayad ng tax. But above that, merong, for example, like 20% of the excess over 250,000. So, compute yun na lang and whatever. So, um, before that, sorry. Um, Before that, note that the taxes that you pay are considered deductible expenses. So in your annual income tax return, you can deduct what you paid in your quarterly percentage taxes and your quarterly income taxes. Kasi, yeah, so parang you're not paying naman like multiple taxes ideally. Parang kasi BIR just needs the cash flow kasi if everyone paid lang on April 15, parang medyo mahirapan yung BIR daw. So kaya they spread over the payments. So if ever you just deduct na lang the payment you made before to your next tax return. Ayun. So yung next one is yung certificate of tax withheld. This is actually not a tax you yourself file. Um, sa mga those who freelance, you might notice na if you do work for a big company usually, you might notice that your take home pay is smaller than what you build. That likely means that they withheld tax from you. So the certificate of tax withheld is basically proof that the company remitted the tax on your behalf to BIR. So ayun. So if may kaltas ka sa take home pay mo, you have to just make sure to request for this form, yung
Ito
2307.
pala
If you
yun. Okay.
Yeah, if your client withheld tax from you, you should keep these. Basta if you're registered as a freelancer, like, because you need this for filing of your income, your annual income tax. Um, because these can be used as tax credits to lessen your tax liability. So, for example, like you're due to pay your annual income tax na it's sige around 8,000 pesos, and then um you got two 307s na worth mga parang 500 pesos and then 1,000. So, madededuct yun sa total tax liability mo. So, kasi basically like it's basically proof that the company has paid the tax on your behalf. So, yun, tax credit siya basically.
bbshawol, I have a
Yes.
question on the
Yes.
2307.
Sure, sure.
What if you're not registered as a freelancer but you did a side job, a side project, tapos binigyan ka nito? What do you do?
Wala. Like, just keep it. Kasi hindi ka,
Scotch
hindi ka
paper.
registered eh.
Joke lang.
Hindi, hindi ka
Hindi,
registered.
pero
Pero I guess just be careful lang kasi that means na may paper trail knowing that you're freelancing eh. So just be careful lang siguro. Like, I mean, baka you might wanna consider registering in the future. Kasi may paper trail na eh, na that indicates that you're freelancing.
okay.
So,
Pero,
yeah.
anong nangyayari? Well, I guess, baka mas better to for the 30th, the question, the water cooler. Pero would you know ba kung saan napupunta? Parang, okay lang kahit wala akong gawin on my end as a
No,
freelancer
no.
for this one.
Basically kasi this is just to certify, this form is just to certify to you, the freelancer, that the company withheld tax from your payment kasi um companies are required to pay expanded withholding tax on parang if they hire suppliers like mga photographers, mga accountants, any kind of professional, they're supposed to pay tax on that kasi. So, it's part of their expanded withholding tax. So, sila yung nag-remit ng tax to the government. So, ikaw, you don't have to pay anything.
Ah,
Like,
so
yeah, wala ka namang
this is
kailangan
just
i-worry.
them saying na parang, eto na, para you don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not supposed to do it yourself kasi it's basically like, hey, this is to certify that we withheld tax from your payment and we remitted it to BIR. Parang, yeah, parang certificate lang siya.
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ayun. Sure. Anything else before I proceed? Okay, I will proceed.
Go lang. Proceed ka muna kasi
Sige.
may mga questions pero later na lang after your
Sige. Okay, got it. Alright. So, ano yung next? Binablock yung laptop ko yun.
tax filing platform.
Tax filing platforms. So, here are mga tax filing platforms that I'm aware of. So, first of all, is the most basic one, which is EBIR. Lol. um, this, this is
Oh my God. Teka lang, may
that,
get na more flashbacks ako. Teka lang.
Gretchen.
Tanggalin mo
more
pa yung screen. Tanggalin mo yung screen.
Yeah, so this is FYI, this is still how it looks like after how many years?
2021.
um, like, hello 2021. It's
Nasaan yung
basically
trigger warning?
Nabulaga tayo dun.
sorry
Lens flares.
sorry po.
Tanggalin yan sa screen.
Should I change the screen?
No. Go.
Yeah, okay, so this is the most basic one that basically, like, if you don't have any other tax platform, this is the one to use. It's free to use naman. But the problem is this program only works on Windows.
What?
So kwento lang, naka-MacBook ako. So my former business partner had to partition my drive to parang kaya meron akong Windows OS sa Mac ko. So para I can file taxes. So yeah, sadly it
Pag-change
only
na po yung slide, ma'am. Hindi ko na kaya to.
Hindi lang ba yung compatible?
half shiny na lang.
Internet Explorer pa yung compatible. Ito web app.
Web.
It's what do you call this? It's what do you call this? You download it from the BIR
Desktop app
website.
siya. Okay.
Desktop app siya, yeah.
Okay.
And another thing to note is that the program doesn't automatically update. You have to go to the BIR website and to download the latest version and install it yourself manually. So parang di mo parang you just have to check the BIR website every so often to see kung may updated version. Sobrang nakakaloka siya honestly and medyo like it's very old school and stuff. Pero I mean it does the job, I guess.
Tapos
Okay.
ano pa, you also have to burn all the stuff dyan into CD-ROM. Hindi nila
Ah,
tatanggapin kung DVD or USB, dapat CD-ROM.
My
Tapos
God.
balikin ka.
My
yung ako naman, what I just do, I just save the, parang I just, parang print as PDF yung tax returns ko. Yeah. So, and then I file. Okay. Wait, so, okay.
Best
So,
mixtape ever.
Skip.
so, the,
Salamat po. Salamat.
so, so the next one, the
Pasin,
next one
gusto ko
is,
makain.
the next one is one tax. It's what I think it's the first outside platform to be accredited by BIR. I haven't personally used it. Parang I only downloaded the app lang just to check it out. But then mukhang okay naman siya. Parang 100 pesos ata siya per filing. So I guess if for example you have like a MacBook or basta your OS isn't Windows, I think this might be a good option kasi medyo affordable naman. And I think they have add-on services as well. Um, Another one is Taxumo. I used to use it actually. Meron siyang tax filing, tax payment, bookkeeping, and meron na pala siyang a feature na you can consult with an accountant. Back in the early days, when I was still there, it used to be on a per filing basis, pero na yon subscription mode siya, and medyo mahal siya. Sorry to Taxumo, mahal siya. So, hindi ko siya ma-afford na yun. But it's pretty good naman. I like their UI. Ayun, so general tips and experiences with freelance taxes. So first of all, this is something I commonly tell people. Most freelancers don't need DTI registration. Medyo misconception siya, even with accountants. Like, meron akong friend na her accountant registered her a freelancer with DTI. And extra hassle yun kasi pag may DTI ka, you have to have a mayor's permit pa, and that means you pay business taxes to the LGU. Pag freelancer ka, registered ka lang with BIR, so you don't have to pay taxes to the LGU basically. So parang basically extra hassle siya. You would only need the DTI permit if you're selling goods, like yung mga, I guess if you're selling goods like sa mga Shopee ganun.
Yan,
Mga
beer.
nagbebenta ng beer dyan.
Yung mga beer.
SEC naman siya ata eh. So okay na yun. But generally, if you're a freelancer, like you're a photographer, designer, developer, illustrator, virtual assistant, writer, basically a non-licensed professional, you just need to register with BIR and sometimes just get an occupational tax receipt from the city hall. But it really depends per RDO yung requirement. So another thing that people should know rin is that you gotta file your taxes even if you don't earn anything. That doesn't mean you have to pay. You just have to file the return. Parang you file zero lang. And kasi yeah, parang kailangan basta every quarter, for example, personally, like kahit hindi ako nag-earn, nagpa-file ako ng tax return kasi otherwise mape-penalize ka ng 1,000. So medyo hassle. Yeah. Parang yan yung compromise fee. Like if you didn't file a zero payment return on time, you have to pay 1,000 pesos. So sobrang sayang yung
Wait,
1,000 pesos.
magsasabi lang ako ng mga mentions, mga messages sa chat. So,
Sige.
like, kailangan mo pakita na wala kang ambag sa lipunan.
Oh my God. Sad.
Dapat yung income tax return, dapat palitan yun. Ambag certificate dapat.
Oh my God.
Oo, di ba? Parang,
Applicable ba
parang
to tong
konting ano lang. Tipong, tapos kung ano, kung mayroong mga away sa'yo sa comment section, saan
Ano,
yung ambag
doon sa
mo?
bayan.
Ito ang ambag ko!
Nice. Ayun. And especially for zero payment filings, important to keep your email confirmations and the tax return as proof in case BAR suddenly says like, oh, you didn't file or pay for this tax. So, pakita mo sa kanila.
Oh,
Nag-file
yeah,
ako
you have to keep everything din, That's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, kung ipa-audit ka, tapos kahit sila yung may kasalanan,
Oo, totoo.
bibigyan ng penalty. Nangyari na yan kay mami.
Tangina
Oo,
niya.
grabe. Parang, so, yeah, I'll mention that later, like organizing your taxes. So, next, some things about the RDO. So RDO is basically a revenue district office. Parang each
RDO.
city or like part of the city has an RDO. So so first is that there's a general template that every RDO follows in terms of requirements. However, actual implementation depends per RDO. So some RDOs have more requirements than others. For example, QC tends to have more requirements and tends to be stricter compared to say an RDO like Taguig I heard. I think Taguig is a little bit more parang less strict sila compared to QC as far as I know.
Kawa-gawa lang ng Illuminati yan. Illuminati yan to.
Lahat naman sila strict, but then gets like, I mean, QC is yung parang whenever I talk to mga consultants, they always say, try not to register in QC kasi strict sila. So I'm like, okay.
Wala. From experience, you either, yung sinasabi nila is to Taguig, Makati, San Juan. San Juan, madaling kausap daw. I've heard. Do not, baka gawa-gawa lang ng Illuminati yung mga sinasabi ko.
Yeah. Like, rinig ko rin Taguig is okay rin. And, I mean, ako naka-register ako sa Makati. Well, I don't mind sharing this naman. So, like, so, another thing is to try to call your RDO before proceeding there. Kasi, even if you research online on things to do, like as I said, iba-iba yung pagka-implement ng RDO. So baka may missing ka na requirement. So hassle yun kasi, diba, transpo. Unless you bike there, like that's why usually like I would bike going to the RDO. Yeah, kasi minsan talaga as in nasasayangan yung trips mo kasi may kulang ka na requirement and stuff like that. So it's a good idea to call your RDO before proceeding there. There are actually some RDOs pala that parang they have a Facebook na active. So I think RDO 38 might have.
Wow, alam
Parang a friend of mine said So di ako sure, but then
comedy, na yung lahat ng RDOs, they're basically just under one national government office, pero iba-iba yung requirements. Parang, diba?
Yeah,
Wala
weird siya. Parang hindi standardized yung requirements. It really depends per RDO.
Yeah.
So,
saan yung
parang
RDO 30?
parang medyo
RDO Makati, kumusta? Kumusta yung mga binigay naming stakes sa inyo? Mga bullshit.
Hala, oh no.
Wala. Joke po yun, di po totoo yun. Not based on real, wala.
Ayun. So, also, if you go to BAR and you're not sure which section to go to, you can go to the officer of the day. Basically, nag-assist sila for general mga inquiries that aren't covered by the other sections. So, but then, you can also ask the guard because the guard usually helps out rin.
Guard sa kalam.
Alam ng guard. Like, para saan ako pupunta for ganito.
Sila pala yung talagang
Yeah.
Alam pa ng guard kaysa sa mga desk officers, sa totoo lang.
Actually, minsan. Like, actually, from experience, it's good to kind of research rin before going to the RDO. Kasi minsan, kahit yung tao sa RDO, parang conflicting yung mga sinasabi nila minsan. so medyo magulo sometimes. But then, yeah, so another thing is like most if not all RDOs have a printing and photocopy service and notarial services in the same building where the RDO is. So kung may nakalimutan kayo, okay lang naman. But I mean, ideally come prepared. But another thing is, it pays to be nice to the RDO staff. Kahit minsan irate sila, it pays to be nice to them. Just know that, they're mostly likely just following the rules from their higher ups, and minsan naguguhuluhan rin sila sa mga sinasabi ng higher ups nila. Naalala ko talaga nung first in-implement yung train law, as in hindi nila kasalanan na sobrang late mag-release ng memos yung BIR. So pati sila naguguluhan. So try to be nice to them when you deal with them. Undermanned and overworked sila. So payment modes. Just know that like GCash is an option for paying taxes. So sobrang ginhawa siya sa pandemic, honestly. I think PayMaya already has na rin, if I'm not mistaken. Pero personally, I use GCash. But if you decide to pay manually, like you pay sa bank or something, you have to pay at an authorized agent bank of your RDO. So meaning, for example,
Different RDO, different bank.
Oh my
Oo.
God, may
Kung
ganun
ano yung
pa.
authorized sa isa, hindi pwede pa na sa iba.
Yeah.
Nakakaroon yung binayad mo.
Satul.
So, for example, if you are if you are registered in the RDO, for example, in QC, like for example RDO 39, pero nakatira ka sa Pasig, hindi ka pwede mag-pay sa bank sa Pasig. You have to go to QC, and not just any bank in QC. You have to pay at an authorized agent bank of that RDO. So merong list sa BIR na mga authorized
Specific
agent banks.
branch.
May mga specific banks and branches.
My God.
Not all
Hindi man
banks
lang.
cater to BIR kasi. So you have to be very specific lang. So usually mga land bank, ano pa,
Yun,
RCBC.
land bank.
Yeah.
Land bank gang.
Yeah. I used to pay at land bank dati.
Ayoko na.
Ayun.
Ayoko na makita ang land bank. Huwag mo yung paalala yan.
Okay. So, organizing your tax files. It's pretty important to keep your tax files organized. When you file, especially with EBIR, try to save a PDF copy of your tax returns. And parang don't just file lang, kasi pwede ka mag-file lang tapos exit yung app. Use yung go to
Gawang bobo yan.
yeah, parang go to the print option and then save as PDF kasi para you keep track of your tax returns. And it's also you also need it kasi for like your annual income tax returns to look at your old tax returns kasi. And also important
Memories.
also important to save also important to save the email confirmation kasi you'll be giving the EBIR system an email. So the system will send you a confirmation email. So you should also keep that, especially for mga zero payment returns, para to prove to BIR, hey, I filed this tax. And yung mga most important na tax files are your COR, your certificate of registration, which is Form 2303. It's basically proof that you're registered with the BIR. Shows your name, your business name, address, and the taxes that you're liable to pay. Important renew authority to print, which is like that you've printed receipts, and then mga annual income tax returns, like kasi someone asked me to like answer like what if may delubyo tapos kailangan mo kunin yung mga tax returns mo. So these are the files to get: COR, ATP, and yung mga annual income tax returns. But it's also a good idea to keep a digital copy of these files just in case. So ayun. And sabi rin ni Beer Smuggler nito dati, pero BIR actually holds seminars if you're curious or interested. I don't know lang if they hold in person pa rin during the pandemic, but they used to hold in person. I think meron rin sometimes sa Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. I think I remember
Bakit lang
seeing
catering ng mga seminar na yun? Huwag nyo na
Yeah.
lang puntahan in person. Sayang oras.
Catering talaga yung pake.
Yung fried fish nila, bulok.
Yay.
Hi po sa
Ayun.
large taxpayer division, Makati. How's life? Pangit ng pain nyo.
Sad. Ayun. So, Some sources kasi some sources that you can look into, like other than this thing, merong tax whiz sa Rappler. He like magaling siya, so he writes some articles sometimes sa Rappler. The Taxumo blog has good resources rin. Also the Full Suite blog. Full Suite is a parang they do business registration and stuff like that. Pero mahal sila. So, pero good naman yung blog nila. BIR website, pero warning lang na medyo magulo. As in, medyo nakakaloka yung indexing nila. As in,
Ay, may
par-
indexing sila?
well,
Na-feel.
or lack thereof of an indexing.
Yan.
Yeah, basically, like, as in, parang you have to click, like, merong memos, may circulars, pero super manual nilang ina-upload. So, basta sakit sa ulo siya. But the BIR Facebook is a bit more helpful, I guess, in terms of timeliness. Like, you just look at, kasi they post like, oh, this is the new one, ganon. So, funny kwento lang na I think naging top fan ako ng BIR
Oh my
Facebook
God.
Yun!
at one point.
Flex mo yung...
Ayan.
Flex that badge!
No taxes. Char.
meron akong badge.
Flex
meron din ako
mo!
sa PhilHealth.
Flex mo yan, Chong!
Ayun. But if you don't want to spend your time going through those resources, you can contact me, lol. Basically, like, I offer like consultation. So, I can talk about mga taxes payable na more detailed, choosing a deduction scheme, basic bookkeeping, how to file your taxes, and I give like a primer, like a PDF primer on filing taxes. Pero this is assuming that you're registered na as a freelancer. But if you have other tax concerns, pwede mo rin ako i-message, the bbshawol. And may gusto rin ako i-promote kasi yung bias ko si Key as his comeback.
Oh
Yun!
So,
Yan ang related!
so may pre-release siya na single on Monday called Hate That. So before the next tax water cooler session, give it a listen. It will be released 6 p.m.
Dapat yung intro na
Korean
yung susunod
Standard
na
Time.
Yung dapat yung intro.
So before the next tax water cooler session, listen to it. Support Kim Kibum and Taeyeon. Ayun, yun lang. That's it from me. I guess I will answer the questions now.
Okay. I can read through some questions. Okay, thank you, Baren. Thank you pala, Karen. You can move to the first slide since you have a slide.
Sure. Okay, hold on.
Okay, ano bang question dito? Ayun, I guess ito muna kasi related siya dun sa sinasabi mo kanina yung about online freelancers. What are the chances that BIR will run after? Ay, hindi. Nasagot na ba to kanina? Oh, di ba parang...
Hindi pa.
Will they run after unregistered online freelancers? AKA...
AKA half of everyone here.
Just, okay, something to note with BIR, it takes resources to audit and catch people.
Nice.
So, I don't think
May
they're
pera
gonna
kasi.
go. Parang,
Masyadong magastos, gano'n.
masyadong magastos to go for small people. So, I mean, my opinion and basically what some other consultants say is that they won't really go for the small fish. But it's also, but yun nga, wait, may note ako dun eh. It's more of, wait lang. It really depends on how much you're earning, how popular and influential you are, your footprint online, and honestly, luck. Kasi minsan, they do go for the small fish, but parang they just randomly pick out. So, malas ka na lang kung ikaw yun. But,
matakot ka na.
Putik naman.
Matakot ka na.
So,
wow, depende sa mood.
pero, so it really depends talaga. But then, generally, like, if you're not earning that much naman, parang hindi ka like yung mga popular YouTubers, parang it's a bit not super likely naman, as far as I know. But
Another factor din kasi is, for example, if one of the companies who rendered services to is getting audited, medyo baka masama ka lang sa dragnet. So it's always
Yeah.
better to stay on the safe side.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for answering that question.
Um,
Ay, go.
meron akong nakitang question na parang something about registering. Cause
Yeah.
basically, this is my personal opinion, ha. Like, don't at me. But then, registering would be dependent on your, parang, whether to or not to register as a freelancer would be dependent on your employment status, how often you freelance, and how sizable your earnings are. Kasi for example, kung fully employed ka, tapos you just freelance once in a while, like, oh, gusto ko mag-upgrade yung group set ko to Ultegra. I want to
Oh.
freelance.
What a specific
like,
thing.
yeah, parang, so you just do it once in a while, pero you mostly rely on your employment income, then it might not be worth the trouble to register. But then if you freelance pretty often and it's like your income from freelancing is pretty sizable, I think it would be better to register kasi baka you might transition into full-time freelancing or yun nga baka mahuli ka. So I mean, generally speaking, it's better to err on the side of safety and register. But yun lang, if you only do it once in a while, it might not be worth it. Yan yung opinion ko on the matter. But syempre, I'm not a CPA, so ayun.
PNPA.
No.
Grabe.
Okay. I guess I will ask this question then na
Okay.
related dun sa question nung sa unregistered online freelancers. Do you have, well, you did semi-answer it, but do you have any other general tax avoidance tips for online freelancers? Those who get clients in Upwork and
Legal
other-
naman ang tax avoidance. Okay yan.
Yun lang.
Basta wag tax evasion.
With tax avoidance, generally kasi tax avoidance is like, lessening your tax liability, diba? So, if you can defend a certain expense as a business expense, pwede naman yun. Just don't be OA about it na halatang you made it up. Like, for example, like, oh, may deduction ako ng 750,000 for laptop. So, medyo red flag.
At DOH.
DOH ba?
Okay.
Hindi, sabihin na natin, namili ka ng bagong Ducati, sabihin mo, pang delivery mo yun.
Grabe.
Di kayo marunong sa buhay eh.
Lulusot yun.
So,
Lusot yun! Sabihin mo, delivery service ka.
but generally ako, like in terms of mga tax compliance, personally, I'm always on the safer side. Like, I'm generally pretty tax compliant kasi. So, ayun.
Compliant din naman yun Ba't nakakatrabaho?
Ito naman, isa pang question. Ito na lang. What are my options when I find out that I've been receiving my salary as a lump sum and the employer hasn't been paying my taxes, SSS, etc.? Essentially, hindi nila ginawa yung dapat ginagawa nila na mention earlier. Or baka ito ay medyo mas pang 30. Sabihin mo na.
I would, first of all, like, I think you should ask this question on the 30th, but my personal opinion on it is like, wait, question lang, because I think si Richard yung nagtanong nun ata. As in, they gave you the gross earnings, parang hindi sila nagkaltas. They didn't deduct naman the SSS.
Hypothetically speaking, I received salary for 1 year, monthly lump sum, no deductions. For 1 year. Tapos the next year may naman na.
Oh, okay. Well, kasi hindi ka pwede mag-back pay as far as I know. You can't back pay mga SSS PhilHealth Pag-ibig, but you can do voluntary contribution. Pero kasi they're already contributing na they're already paying na your SSS PhilHealth and Pag-ibig So I don't really see the point na
Pero walang deduction.
parang no, what I mean is like he won't be, parang hindi niya kasalanan basically, like if he received the lump sum, parang parang hindi siya pwedeng habulin kasi hindi naman niya kasalanan na hindi nag-file yung employer.
So, pwede niya ipasa yun sa employer kung sakali man sinita siya about it.
Yeah, actually, it's really the employer's responsibility. Like, they might ask, oh, why didn't you pay for the SSS Pagibig PhilHealth back then? So, sila dapat yung
So, yung liable.
responsible dun, as
Okay.
far as I know. But
Okay.
also, I would suggest asking this on the 30th also.
Sige. Ito may isang question. How does one manage the SSS, Pag-ibig, and PhilHealth contributions transitioning from employed to freelance or remote work? I'd like to be able to make it easy for me when I switch back to being employed.
Okay. For SSS, kasi when I talked to one of the employees there, sabi daw, like, even if you're filing as a self-employed person, you don't need to change your registration na to self-employed. Kasi sabi daw niya, mas hassle yun. Like, okay lang that you're registered as an employee, but you just do voluntary contributions na lang. But as far as I know, kasi you have to register online for something called a PRN, a payment reference number, in order to pay for your SSS returns. But parang once you're registered naman online, medyo smooth na yun kasi you can pay through Union Bank, through GCash. So, sa Pag-ibig naman, you can just pay voluntarily through GCash. PhilHealth, I'm not sure about the online payment platforms for PhilHealth, honestly, kasi dati I would really go to the PhilHealth branch. So I can't really say about PhilHealth. But generally naman, parang you can do voluntary contributions naman para you're covered pa rin.
Okay. Sige. Baka pwede rin natin tanungin yan sa, sa 30th. Pero,
Yeah.
but, eto, wait lang. Asan na ba yan? Ino-note ko lang siya with that emoji. So, BRR doesn't actively track you, diba? For not filing taxes. Like, they really can't do anything about it. Pero, at the same time, kung matripan lang nila na tignan ka.
Hello?
Ayan, hello.
Chat ba ako?
Yes, rinig ka.
Rinig ka naman.
Okay.
Choppy ka do.
Ay, never mind then.
Nag-aalala lang yan dahil sumikat na eh.
Basta wag ka mag-post ng crypto earnings sa Facebook. Kung ano mang pwede.
Basically, like,
na kumikita ka.
as I said, it really depends on your footprint online. Kasi if they can find proof that you're earning a lot of money, they'll have a reason to go after you. So I guess
What would count as proof?
For example, pag YouTuber ka, kung marami kang views or marami kang sponsorships.
So online footprint talaga.
Yeah.
Or any mga big ticket purchases na parang, oy, Brad, paano ka nakakabili ng Mustang? Unemployed ka, sabi mo ah. Parang ganun.
Okay.
Gani. Mga Jamil moves.
Jamil moves. Okay. May next question, 'di ba may e-appointment na sa ibang RDO?
Yeah,
related.
I think so, but I haven't personally tried it because I haven't gone to BIR this pandemic.
Wag na kayo pumunta. Na kayo pumunta, pangit ka ba?
Ano yung point ng Wala lang, para lang alam nyo.
Makiki-aircon lang.
Eto, sunod, ideally, kailan ba magre-register or magpapa-update to freelancer or self-employed? For example, pag magsa-start ka pa lang mag-freelance, no clients pa, before you start taking jobs or just after you start? What if you've started taking clients for months na, same fiscal year, and haven't updated? Will that be a problem?
For example, okay lang naman like to register after you started taking clients in because you just want to make sure na this is a viable source of income. Pero you don't have to declare your income from the previous month.
Parang moving forward.
Parang wag mong sabihin yan sa BIR. Kasi parang just start as new na lang. Parang they won't really mind naman. Basta like the good thing is that you're registering naman. So it's okay to like, dip your feet in muna like before registering. Like, okay, make sure that you're getting a steady stream of clients and then saka na lang register. And then you start paying your taxes once naka-register ka na. Don't back pay kasi mapipenalize ka.
Ah.
Yeah, yung BIR rin mismo magsasabi sa'yo na nasa office ka. Sasabihin sa'yo, sigurado ka ba gusto mong gawin niya?
Yeah,
Kasi
yeah.
for sure naman they handle other people like that.
Yeah, so don't declare na your other earnings naman from before. Parang, I think they're just happy that you're registering. So,
Not everyone
They
does
don't,
it.
para silang ideal boyfriend niya eh. Parang, they don't care about your past. Parang gusto lang nila malaman yung future mo.
yeah. Totoo.
Ito.
Other questions.
Wait lang.
Parang ang lalim ng hugot ko dito. Teka lang.
Oh my.
Bigyan ka muna. Kailangan ko uminom.
Wait lang ah. Okay, sige. Si Richard na bahala mag-mark ng questions kasi nag-scroll through ako.
Gawin na lang namin.
Sige. Na-miss ko pala yung question ko kanina kasi ito freelance related. Though I think I did sort of ask it. Ay, hindi. Or na-mention siya. Tanong ko na lang ulit. If I'm doing freelance work on the side but have a full-time job, what kind of taxes apply to me? Do I need to file anything? Since I know that you have managed someone with mixed income.
Kasi I manage someone with mixed, I help have file taxes for someone who had mixed income na parang employed siya, pero registered kasi siya as a freelancer.
So
Kung
madali
kung hindi ka registered as a freelancer, parang hindi ka makakabayad ng tax for your freelance. So you would have to register as a freelancer. Pero kung employed ka, tapos you take side jobs, pero hindi ka registered as a freelancer, wala kang if-file. But yun lang, parang there's already a paper trail kung may 2307 ka. So that's just something to note lang.
Okay. Okay.
But yun na, if you don't do it that regularly naman, parang I don't see, parang, diba, like what I said earlier, parang they don't really go after the small fish,
Okay.
Basically, yung yung parang rule of thumb is if what you're earning on the side as a freelancer is more or less equivalent to something na someone else would earn through full-time work. Parang that's probably the time that you should start registering your freelance work. Parang rule of thumb lang.
Yeah,
Basta
yeah.
ganun.
That's a good rule of thumb, yeah. And if you're doing it regularly, na.
Yeah. Lalo na si Sam, sikat na yan. Hindi na 1 million brad eh. Ito nga taginting eh.
Okay, ito naman, isa pang question. How long should you keep your tax files? Forever? 5 years? Ano yung recommendation? Or meron bang advice already from...
I think,
ideally forever.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Ako talagang forever so far. Parang I really kept my tax file since I registered in 2018 ba yun? Or 2017. But
parang one of the best things that you could do for yourself, especially sa ganyan, kasi one of the parang it's not an inevitability na ma-audit ka, pero when you get audited, it really pays to keep the all copies. Tapos as much as possible, kung kaya nyo i-digitize nyo din.
Ayun.
Yeah, digitize it. Kasi even if you lose the physical copies, at least meron kang digital copy and then you just print it out and then I mean, they just need to see proof that you have it. I mean, you can always have it certified true copy na lang eventually in the future kung nawala mo. So, I think digitizing it would help para to save on space if ever you need to really like dispose of it. So yeah.
Isa pang advantage niya is if you're the sort of person who's building net worth, ganon, having them handy. For example, if you want to start transitioning to having your own business, starting your own company, having those things on hand na parang proof na kumikita na ako noon pa. Parang it adds more legitimacy to when you're looking around for a loan, mga ganon. Para parang, eto, legit.
Yeah, good. Kaya, like what I mentioned sa start ng why register as a freelancer, Parang it's good for mga loan applications and stuff like that. Kasi proof siya na, oh, I've been paying taxes and stuff like that. I am a citizen of the Philippines. I am a
Ano
compliant
kung may kakuhay ka
taxpayer.
sa comment section, di ba? Anong ambag mo? Ba't mo inaawat si ganito?
Ambag ka!
I-email ko pa sa'yo!
I like that. Parang ambag paper.
Ambag
Di mo patunay
certificate.
ng ambag, oh. Ikaw may sedula ka, eto akin. Oh, may 42307.
Yeah. Meron akong
May
1701.
Oh, yan. So,
Ah.
kung dumaldal pa siya, teka lang, send ko yung email ko. Yeah, it's also really helpful, for example, for loaning for a house, gano'n, and also for lalo siyang helpful kung, di ba, when you're starting a business, wala ka pang so it would really help, for example, if you want to get a personal loan to start, tapos kung kailangan mo ng term loans kung registered na yung business mo for around 1 year, in operation na siya for 1 year, gano'n, it really helps kasi, siyempre, di naman secret sa atin dito, recently na I've been having cash flow problems, tapos, ako kasi, nag-register ako for,
Hala. Nasira na yung
The fuck?
beer smuggler bot.
Nag-remix. Alam, there's like...
Natawa ako dun. Wait. Hindi ka na namin naririnig, beer smuggler.
Okay lang, wala na. Wala na.
Naubos na ba yung battery mo? Wala na yung point mo.
Para kasi akong yung utak ko, parang prepaid number na kung may
Naubusan ng
sense yung
load.
sinasabi ko, dapat unlicensed 50. Tapos kung expired na, wala nang kwenta yung mga lumalabas sa bunganga ko.
Okay. Teka, balik ako sa questions. Tatanungin ko na lang, pero yun, defer if kailangan.
Yeah.
If I am based abroad, but still a full-time employee in a PH-registered company, may kailangan pa ba ako gawin on my end? Or should I just let HR handle it? No?
Defer rin to August 30, but what I know is like you defer to HR. But best to like ask them what they're doing so you also know what's happening.
Okay. Okay. Next.
But that's really
Ay.
HR's responsibility naman.
Ah.
Basta you're an employee, like you generally don't have to worry about your taxes, but it's good to know like how taxes work kasi minsan companies screw over their employees talaga.
Yeah. Okay. Next, anyway, yung tanong ko sana is, di mo kasalanan yung gaps mo sa BIR, pero what steps can you do as an employee given na di mo kasalanan yung gaps? Eto pala yung, I think nasagot mo na to kanina na, should the actions be against the employer ba and pwede ba sila idemanda if your employer doesn't file it? I guess this is the additional question na lang to the already kanina pinag-usapan.
What I was told is like you can report it sa BIR, but then I don't know how long that will take knowing how BIR is. But
Okay.
yeah, pwede ka naman mag-report what your employer is doing. Parang try to adjust the employer mo na, but kung wala, take it up to the appropriate office.
Mansumbong na.
Isabay mo na rin. Kung hindi binabayaran ang taxes mo, check mo kung binabayaran yung SSS. Mas masakit yung penalty sa SSS eh. So kung galit ka sa
Dapat yung holy trinity na yan ng mga contributions maliban sa tax, yung PhilHealth, Pagibig, SSS, gano'n. Dapat kung hindi binabayaran ng isa, it usually means they're not paying gano'n. Parang kung hindi binabayaran yung isa, hindi binabayaran yan lahat.
Yeah. Entonces, yung pinakamalaking penalties is SSS. Yung pinakamaliit, as in super liit, is Pag-ibig. As in, I remember like accidentally hindi kami nagbayad ng Pag-ibig for several months. Tapos parang centavos lang yung due. Tapos sabi nila, wag mo nang bayaran. so ayun lang.
Oh, okay. Eto, next, if I'm based in the Philippines, ito may i-share ako before you sagot na lang.
In the
If I'm
Philippines. If I'm based,
Tangina
if
naman.
I'm based, yan ang rule
Naubos lang battery mo eh. Teka, wait. If I'm based in the Philippines but working for a company abroad with no Philippine counterpart as a remote contractor, should I be registering as a freelancer or is there another category to register in? Yung parang yung alam ko sa ganito is nagre-register ka ata dapat as a freelancer kasi you're the
Yeah.
one filing your own taxes.
Yeah.
Pero yun, sige, go.
Basta hindi ka employee of that company, you're a contractor talaga. Like parang project-based ka. Tama.
project-based.
So,
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, so you would have to, parang you're responsible for your own taxes and contributions. So you would register as a freelancer.
Even though you're parang...
So kung
go.
kunwari, yung previous job mo may tin ka naman tapos registered ka as an employee, tapos yung new job mo is foreign, magpapalit ka pa ng registration mo to self-employed or papabayaan mo lang yung ano?
You just have to register. Parang, kasi for example, like you got your tin as an employee. Like that's your tin for life.
You need just one tin for life.
Yeah. Actually, bawal.
The only time na magkakaroon ka ng parang ibang tin, quote-unquote, is when you set up a company.
Yes,
Pero
yes,
yung you just have to file taxes on that tin.
Yeah,
Pero
yeah.
apart from that, you don't really need to worry about anything kasi yung back taxes mo naman, sabi ko nga kanina, general rule, ang BIR parang perfect girlfriend yan. Walang paki sa past mo. Basta i-register mo na lang yung everything moving forward. Ang paki lang nila, future mo sa kanila, di ba?
Yeah. So basically, like what you do, like you just show like, okay, this is my tin, and then I'm going to register as a self-employed non-licensed professional, ganun. So you don't have to worry about your tin. Basta meron ka ng tin, okay ka na. You just have to change your registration lang. Parang, I think 1905 or 1902 ba yun? I forgot which form.
Can I just mention na I'm amazed na memorize mo yung mga numbers.
Right. Yung flip yan. Kung di mo memorize yan, wag kang tangina.
Diba?
Sayang yung oras yan.
Tangina, essential yung trabaho mo. Okay, sorry. Nagana lang ako. Okay. Anyway.
Speaking on receipt printing, for example, kung freelancer ka lang din naman, na tipong hindi masyadong marami yung booklets, yung booklets na maramihan na peer accredited, that's good if you have a fuck ton of receipts. Pero usually kasi kung malaki yung RDO nyo, merong mga nandun na nakatambay na parang mag-o-offer sa'yo na magbenta ng booklets na na tipong tig to 2 booklets lang, ganon, 5 booklets. So,
talaga? Oh.
So hindi ito yung parang kailangan nandun yung pangalan ng consultancy mo. Hindi
syempre,
ito yun.
Kung gusto mong ganun, 'di ba? Bakit hindi? Pero kung tipong gusto mo lang ng official receipt form mo, ito.
May ganun.
Mabilisan lang yun.
Pwede kang magka-OR kahit
hindi ka officially registered, quote-unquote, ganun?
Hindi, dapat registered ka na. Kasi, di ba, when you get registered kasi, tatlo yung titingnan sa'yo. So, yung ihihingi sa'yo ng BIR. So, you're gonna have, dapat meron kang accredited ledger na pipirmahan nila. Meron ka dapat, booklets. Nandun na dapat yun.
Yeah,
yung mga yun, ngayon, usually, kung mas malaki ng konti yung RDO, for example, sa Makati or yung mga ganon na hindi ko maalala yung mga exact RDOs na meron, pero alam ko yung sa Makati meron, yung sa may Makati Atrium. Within the na yun mismo, meron na mga mismong lalapit sa'yo, sir, registration po, gusto niyo po mamili ng booklet, yun, tapos. Wala ka nang gagawa.
So hindi yun bad, like, I don't know. Yung mga
hindi, pabor pa sa'yo yun, Brad. Wag mo nang don't look the gift horse in the mouth, pare. Yung mga yun, may tao na yun sa loob, registered na yung mga yun. Hayaan mo na lang. Just take the blessing na you don't need to order 20 booklets. Kasi alam ko naman, for example, if you're a freelancer, di ba, mga around 1 project, 1 month, 2 projects, 1 month. Hindi mo naman mauubos yung booklet eh. Kaya kung ganun lang din naman, just, bilhin mo yung 2 booklet kaysa naman sa nag-iikot ka pa ng buong Metro Manila para lang sa booklet, di ba?
Parang as long as basta what matters is that you have a receipt, yung official receipt mo. Kasi
parang girlfriend the perfect ang BIR minsan eh. Medyo abusive lang minsan.
So nag-evolve na yung girlfriend.
So, okay na, nice to know na as a full-time employee na minsan-minsan freelance.
Oo.
Possible mag-OR.
De,
Hindi na
pero
kailangan
kailangan,
DTI, etc.
You just need to like sign up your tin for once. Tapos after that naman, you can pay all taxes to that tin basta registered na siya. Kasi kahit for example, yung first tin ko nung 18 ako, parang baliktad lang sa inyo. 'Di ba sa inyo is you got employed first before you got your tin. Sa akin, I
Yeah.
got my tin first before I got fully employed.
Ako
Kasi
rin. Yeah.
Kasi parang there were some assets na kailangan i-transfer sa akin. So, if you're gonna have assets transferred to you, syempre, you have to pay inheritance taxes, etc. Ganun. So, I had to have myself registered. So, parang yung tin ko nun, ginamit ko na din sa work. Tapos, after I left work, all the taxes that I file, inano ko lang na one time sa BIR na na they just signed the ledger, they just signed the the receipts that I'm gonna give out. Tapos yun na. Parang okay na, ox na ako. Yung dalawang booklet na inano sa akin sa okay na ako doon. So you don't really need to worry that much. Ang nakakatakot lang naman talaga sa registration is if you're a business. Kasi pupunta ka ng munisipyo at yung mga taga-munisipyo Sir, kumusta po yung ating sanitary permit?
Mga permits. Basically, if you're a freelancer, that's why I said don't do DTI registration kasi once you do DTI registration, you're going to need a mayor's permit. And pag mayor's permit, yan yung kailangan ng occupational permit, fire safety inspection certificate, mga ganon. So, dagdag yun sa requirement. So, pag freelancer ka lang, you just need your COR lang, basically. And sometimes your occupational tax receipt, but that's very simple lang to get.
Basta in general lang, DTI kasi from the very name itself, Department of Trade and Industry, it only deals in things na may binebenta ka, yung goods change hands.
Yeah.
Pero kung for example, if you're just rendering services, you can just register as a freelancer. BIR lang yung poproblemahin mo. Hindi ka na kailangan pumunta sa munisipyo, hindi mo na kailangan pumunta sa DTI. Parang that's all you need to do kasi yung income mo is out of labor mo. So,
personal services mo.
Yeah, personal services mo, exactly. Parang yun lang naman yung yung sanitary permits are not under DTI. Ang sanitary permits are under the city. Tapos,
under the LGU,
Yung DNR, yung mga ganyang permits, it varies din kasi basta kung nasa city, hindi yan national government ang mag-i-inspect. I'm just looking at the chat. Alis na ako, nakakahiya na ako. Wala na sense yung mga nauubos na naman yung chart.
Naubos na naman yung load.
Yeah.
Ano ba yun?
But basically tama naman. Actually registering as a freelancer isn't that hard naman. Parang it usually takes a day or two. Like basta try to call the
isang day actually if you just
just call the RDO so you know the list of requirements talaga. Para pagpunta mo doon and they give you the list. Yeah, for your RDO. Don't call another RDO.
Don't call me.
Yes, shiny, don't call me. Call your trash.
RDO is your friend if you call the right RDO, I think.
Yes.
One of the things then that you could do is if your RDO is one of those major RDOs na merong mga parang within the same building, meron na mga printing, meron ng notarial, mga ganon. Just take advantage of all those within there. Kasi usually lahat ng mga yon may arrangement na yan sa loob na parang accredited na sila, ganito, ganyan.
Yeah.
Para you don't need to canvas for those specific things paglabas mo pa. Parang just take advantage of what's there. Parang don't look at the gift horse too much in the mouth na. Parang okay na, may resibo na ako, may ledger na ako. Okay na po ba? Okay, uwi na po ako.
Like, it's BIR mismo who offers na like yung parang yung sila na bahala sa receipts mo. Like, that's what happened to me Parang I didn't have to look for an outside printer kasi they're like, sige, basta go, like, we'll be the ones to do it na lang. I was like, okay. Sige.
Ito, nag-expire daw ba ang freelance registration if zero income ka after X years? Hindi ko masagot to. Parang, ewan. Baby Shawol,
Ano yung question? Sorry, nag-space out
Ah,
ako.
nag-expire daw ba yung freelance registration if zero
No.
income ka for X number of
No.
years?
No.
So, once
Ako
registered,
zero income for like
ah,
tagal na. Ako zero income kasi I focus on my employment kasi for a while. So, as in just keep filing zero, hindi yun mag-expire. As in, you will have to be the one to close it if ever. Actually, may nakita ata akong tanong about closing. Um,
oo.
pero honestly, I don't have experience closing pag freelancer. Meron lang akong experience closing a partnership. And yan madugo. pero, pero, um, for example, like, if you, I, you don't, for example, if you don't earn naman as a freelancer for several months naman, parang you just keep filing zero lang. It's not that hard naman. It's just extra hassle. Alam kong, if you avail of Sumo, and you're not gonna be doing business daw, they have a service na they can file zero for you, or you don't have to do it. So if you have if you have the money to pay for that, parang go ahead and
Magkano yung cut mo sa takso mo? Parang nakaengganyo ako. Teka lang.
Full disclosure, I used to be an affiliate pero hindi na kasi hindi na ako nagtataksumo na yon kasi mahal na siya.
Reject Taksumo modernity. Embrace BIR website tradition.
Wala kasi parang I wasn't earning consistently, so parang it didn't make sense for me to use Taksumo anymore. So I went back to EBIR. Sad.
BIR tradition.
May question ako.
Yeah.
Let's say I am based outside of the Philippines. Tapos gusto ko mag-freelance.
Sorry?
Based out.
Wait, sorry. Hindi ko marinig.
Let's say I'm based outside of the Philippines.
Say I am based.
Yeah.
Pero may Philippine ako na tin.
Okay.
Kunwari nag-aaral lang ako abroad pero gusto ko mag-freelance
Ah,
for
okay.
Philippine clients.
Okay.
Ano yung options ko for that?
Yeah, I guess you would have to. I mean, well, either you register or you go as like an incognito freelancer.
Ayan na.
but yun lang, like I mean if your freelance would be like regular, I would suggest registering. I think you can have it done by someone else. Like you can have your freelance registered by someone else. You don't have to be the one to do it yourself.
So hindi kailangan personal appearance.
No.
So kailangan pa ba ng special power of attorney yun? Or
I think so. It's possible, but I'm not super sure. Alam ko, sorry, nag-promote na, parang Taksumo should pay me. Taksumo also has business registration services.
Pero di ba, like, one of the other things that you can do din, kasi di ba, since your client is in the Philippines, tapos alam naman nila na outside the Philippines ka, parang hindi naman sa pero ang narinig kong ginagawa ng iba kong friends, nagpapa-chicks sila. Tapos sasabihin nila, ay, hindi na ako registered dyan. Pwedeng i-ano nyo na lang sa yung tax withheld certificate para hindi mo na problemahin. Tipong kayo na bahala ka dyan.
Yung
Parang hindi ko na
2703.
2307.
2307. Baliktad pala eh.
Same numbers naman.
Good.
Parang mas maganda na yun kaysa naman sa parang pinoproblema mo pa na ikaw yun. Parang like, just tell the company na, wala ako dyan, di ko maasikaso yan. Bahala na kayo dyan.
Bayaran nyo ako sa PayPal, ganun, or something.
Bayaran nyo na lang.
Yeah.
Pero like, if the company has an HR department, parang madali lang naman mo pakiusap yan.
Okay.
Sabagay. Thank you.
May question isa. Ako, ato muna. Given na whatever CQ ngayon, kailangan mo bang pumunta mismo sa BIR RDO offices para gawin to?
Yeah. As far as I know.
Pero if you wanna register, pero pwede ka mag-appoint online. Pero you still have to go physically there.
Yeah, you have to go physically there, as far as I know.
Okay.
Pero I don't have first-hand experience on this because I haven't gone to BIR in a while.
Hindi ka pa nag-file ng zero tax mo.
No, nag-file ako. No, you can file kasi online lang eh.
Oo nga pala.
Yung registration lang naman yung kailangan na parang
Yeah, yung in
pumunta.
person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
Filing is online, yung EBIR.
Yung disgrace
Yeah.
of a website. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes!
sobrang lol. Parang, guys, 2021 na, bakit hindi? Like,
Diba?
tapos, sorry, random share lang. Puro Internet Explorer compatible lang yung mga government websites. Like,
Oo nga.
yung SSS, oh my God.
Then,
Also.
Yes.
SSS.
Wait, ito.
So,
Another question. What if you transition back from freelancing to being back to full-time employed? So, I guess
that's the problem.
it's no problem.
Parang you just if you don't cancel your freelancer registration, you just have to keep filing zero payment lang. But kasi your TIN is there, like your employer will just require your TIN, so they'll be the ones to file their tax for you. So it's really not a problem.
Basically, yung magiging issue lang yung change of status if you're
Mhm.
moving from
Self-employed.
employed to freelance, from employed to self-employed. Lang naman siya magkakaano. Pero kung self-employed to employed, yung taxes that HR is filing for you, part din yun ng ng
Yeah.
ng file mo dun. Kasi isa lang naman kasi yung TIN mo eh.
Yeah. Just make sure you get your 2316, which is your ITR from them.
Okay. I remember the 2316 kasi I get that sometimes.
You get that every year. You have to get that
Yeah.
every year. That's a requirement of your employer.
Kasi
Okay.
makikita mo din doon lahat ng mga yung mga butal sa iyo.
Yeah.
Na-question
Plus
na
if
go.
Plus if for you have to keep then all of your for example, lalo na yung mga cases na sinabi kanina na parang you suspect your employer isn't remitting your contributions. Parang it's always handy to keep those yung employment 2316s nyo on hand para
Yeah.
you have the receipts,
Yeah.
so to say.
Parang basically keep all of your documents, like, and parang it's a good idea to scrutinize your payslips so you know what's being cut from you, what's being remitted to the government agencies. Kasi may mga employers na nagkakaltas sila pero hindi nila nire-remit. So
Yeah.
sketchy.
Napaka-powerful ng kasi syempre 'di ba apart from the reasons outlined earlier, being registered basically it means you're under the fold of the law na parang whatever na na money comes through your hands. Binibigay mo din sa government pero it also means na you have protection when you're getting screwed. So
Yeah.
So being registered is a very powerful thing then as protection na din sa iyo. Na parang someone told you na a company you contracted yourself to, sinabi nila nag-tax withheld sila pero wala silang mapakitang tax withheld sa iyo para lang excuse para butalan yung yung final na abot sa iyo. You can always
Challenge.
you can always challenge that. Nasaan yung form ko? Nasaan yung ganito? Nasaan yung ganyan? You can be yun yung the paper is what gives you the right to be a Karen, basically. Kasi kung may hawak kang papel, may karapatan ka talaga mag-Karen, di ba?
Tama. Okay. Okay. Wait, may another question. Sorry, wait lang. Another
No worries.
question. Have you ever tried checking with the BIR if you have any open cases for peace of mind ba? Do you ask the question? Like,
Sila naman yung mga sa iyo eh. Sa totoo lang.
I don't think necessary naman. Parang I've never tried it. Like,
so,
kasi
balik pa
parang
tayo. Go.
Parang, like, usually, like, yung open cases, that usually happens when you're closing a company. Like, kasi I remember when I closed one of our companies, that's when they would show you, ito yung mga open cases, you have to settle these. So, that's usually when the open cases come in. But then, for general, like, wala lang, parang you just go there. Parang, I don't think it's a common practice.
If ganito lang yan, Brad, if you want peace of mind, kung hindi ka pa binibigyan ng notice or anything ng BIR, you have nothing to be afraid of. Kasi sila naman mismo yung hahabol sa iyo kung may open cases ka.
Yeah.
Ganun lang 'yan. Parang hindi naman siya katulad ng NBI and PNP na parang ay may habla pala ako. Hindi naman.
Yeah, no. Like, I mean,
Kasi
if
may
they
pera
have
dito
something against you, they will run after you.
Yeah. Haharasin ka niyan. Ikaw yung ihaharas niyan eh.
So parang balik tayo doon sa metaphor of the perfect girlfriend. Walang paki sa past. Ganun. Or
Wala
hindi
siyang
naman,
paki sa past
hindi
mo.
naman naalamin
Kung
yun.
ano ko, hindi naman niya aalamin yun eh. Ang aawayin ka lang niyan kung may ginawa ka na. Pero kung hindi naman parang hindi siya nagtitimti ng galit. Sasabihin niya sa kung may problema ka.
With that metaphor nga, for example, if you've been freelancing for like a few years na tapos wala ka pang receipts, parang, I mean, if you feel like it's the time now, like don't be afraid of the whole idea na, oh, baka makulong ako if I go to them. Parang just register na before they go to you. So,
Okay, unahan mo na.
parang basically unahan mo na. Like, parang
Mayor dapat ang mauna.
better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Diba?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, ano pa ba mga questions dito?
Are there others that I missed
or-
out on? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm looking through lang din the questions. Yung mga
Basta remember, this is your money kasi eh, na parang, okay, yeah, you're paying your obligation to the government, pero isipin mo na lang na lahat ng mga deduction na yon is insurance sa'yo to be assured that someone else isn't screwing you. Parang kung hindi, if yung masakit sa'yo yung SSS, mga ganon, BI, or taxes mo, tandaan mo lang na if someone tells you na there's someone who's supposed to be remitting them doesn't remit them talaga, may konting crowbar ka to hit them on the head with it. Na parang, ay! Yun. Parang konting filler lang to habang nag-aabang tayo ng mga tanong.
Yeah, kasi yung sasabihin ko nga dapat yung mga ibang questions kasi mga mas bagay for the 30th kasi mas employee-employer related siya.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ano pa ba? May mga questions pa ba kayo? You can either type it out or mag-voice out na lang kayo here. Or kung
On
may
kahit
comment.
ng mic para awayin ko kayo.
Wag.
Joke lang.
Ay, pakita mo kaya Karen muna yung slide mo of of your services para lang for the people who
Sige. Hold on.
just joined now.
Yeah, like if you need mga help with like
But
learning how to file taxes.
yeah, but also disclaimer then for bbshawol na yun nga, she is not like CPA. So this is just based on her experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give like professional tax advice. Like parang I don't give accounting advice, ganun. Parang this is basically like parang sometimes I give workshops kasi on how to file your taxes. Basically, basic how to do things.
So nakalibre tayo ngayon sa'yo, kumbaga.
Yes.
Bayad ako ng 750 mga buwisit.
Yeah. And I just want to share also that Kim Kibam has a comeback. So, wala lang.
Wait. May nagtanong sa akin, may nag-PM. Sana sinend mo to, hindi ko na sasabihin ko sino ka, pero sana sinend mo to sa questions on taxes. Natanong na daw ba regarding cashing out from cryptocurrencies or just for taxes in work-related and business? Okay, tinatanong lang yung context.
Okay.
I guess that could be something na we can ask.
Na yan eh.
Yan
Right.
ang pang 30.
Pang 30th. Kasi wala
sige.
akong alam dun.
Kung
May philosophical discussions niyan sa Money Heist paminsan.
Philosophical discussions.
Dito, send mo na lang yung
dapat nga ba i-tax ang crypto, etc.
May mga ibang tao.
Usapan yan ever since nagkaroon ng cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
Hanggang ngayon di pa nare-resolve. So yeah.
Pero din kasi 'di ba, like basically money trading currencies is already a tax activity. Parang
Ayun nga eh.
Parang okay.
Nag-Taxumo workshop I think yesterday regarding crypto taxes. Pero generally naman sa Philippine
Dapat ba kayo bayad ng Taxumo? Ako lang ba yung hindi nakakatanggap ng konting cut dito? Nakakahiya parang nagsasaya ako ng laway para sa libre eh.
Ko na lang for yung dun sa cryptocurrency. In the Philippines, you do not have to pay for crypto taxes, but mas safe if you do pay. Ang mangyayari lang sa'yo, for example, if you cash out your crypto earnings through trades, at most yung mangyayari sa'yo, magkaka-notification ka for anti-money laundering from the bank. Tapos yung gagawin mo lang dun is provide your trading history. kung saan galing
Lang,
yung
baka
pera.
ma-freeze pa yung account mo niyan, Brad.
But yeah, other than that, you don't have to pay any tax right now kasi wala pa namang nagkagulo-gulo.
Yeah. Ay, ano tawag dito? Did you mention na ba kanina pala, bbshawol, yung sa graduated taxes? Kanina? Like yung kasi yun yung table, 'di ba?
Wait lang.
Yun yung table na ayaw mong i-explain. Ah!
Yeah, this is
Sorry.
Trigger warning!
Okay. But is that the one that's related to the graduated tax?
yes.
Okay.
Ito yung graduated. Parang basically like, this is like, I don't know kung nakikita yung mouse ko, but then,
Nakikita.
okay, so this part is like your taxable income. It's not your gross income. It's kasi taxable income is gross earnings minus cost of sales minus I think OPEX. So your taxable income is here. So
Okay.
and then
Yan
you
yung
apply
parang
like
that's what you earn, 'di ba, a year.
in a quarter or a year. So
Quarter.
and then
Okay.
so your tax due is like for example, there's a basic amount plus B times C. So for example, if yun nga, if you don't earn if you only earn like 60,000 in a quarter for freelancing, wala like zero tax yung kailangan magbayad. But you still have to file.
Ah.
So basically the reason why like people sometimes they register for yung graduated income tax rate versus the 8% flat tax rate is for flexibility kasi minsan your expenses are more than are a bit more, so para mabawasan yung tax liability mo kasi naman yung flat rate na
8%?
parang 8%, so parang 8%.
Business expense po, yung bago ko pong Ducati para mabilis yung delivery.
Oh my God. Yeah. Ayun. So there. Ito yung you can
Yes,
just
yung range of taxable income, yung values niyan is per year. Baka iniisip nyo 250,000 yung threshold sa per quarter, that's per year. Baka
Kaya-
Mga mayayaman lang
just for
tinatax.
for note lang. Baka baka
Yeah, diba? Alam ko kasi yan yearly siya. Pero I'm
Kaya,
surprised na may mention of quarterly. Or
well,
quarterly yung filing, pero yung nandito
Yung
sa
compute.
values na to. Yeah, yung pag-compute mo is
yearly.
yearly. Yung
Yearly,
values na
yeah.
ka-reflect dyan.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So ang recommendation, may recommendation ka ba between the two? I guess.
it really depends on how much you're earning and how much you spend in a
month or
given
a year?
month or quarter. Well,
Ah.
that's what like my tax consultation is for.
Okay, ayan. So balik na tayo dun sa slide.
Para naman hindi ma-undermine pa rin yung tax consultation ni Shawol is parang rule of thumb lang para lang may idea is kung umabot ka na to the point na for example sa isang quarter lampas 60,000 na, that's probably the time that you should start considering lang na quarterly. Considering lang naman. Pero syempre for more questions, 'di ba? 750 yung babayaran mo. Ano magbigay namin to ng libre? Abot naman ng konting cut dyan.
Grabe.
In-endorse ko na
Referral
nga.
fee. Ikaw pala yung marketing.
Nag-chill na ako eh.
Pero for certain basic questions, you can still ask me naman. Parang this is more of like tax consultation for these specific. Parang more on like, kasi I would give a tax demo kasi rin. Parang if like, may mga basic questions rin kayo or like if you want to ask about my experience, like I'm free to answer naman. I'll tell you naman kung kailangan may bayan.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions or comments or anything else? I think we've covered most of the freelance tax specific questions na nandito sa questions on taxes. If you have other questions that are still related to taxes or something about being an employee or employer or running a business or something. Pero, yeah, not necessarily freelance related. You can just send it here. Tapos pwede namin, ito yung magiging reference namin for the water cooler on the 30th. Yes. And yes, this
Ay,
is
recording.
recorded at yes, i-upload namin siya sa YouTube.
Ay,
Baka
recorded to?
Oh, ano
dami
ba?
mo inaway.
Dami mga inaway tayo na naubos yung battery mo tapos bumalik ka na naman for like how many times?
Yeah, so but if you have follow-up questions on mga freelance stuff, you can also message sa water cooler thread.
Yeah,
naman.
pwede din naman doon. Oo. Siguro kung additional freelance questions, daan nyo na lang din sa water cooler chat mismo and then up until the 30th, pwede pang pag-usapan siya.
Yeah,
There-
I can also answer naman. So
Oo.
yeah.
Tapos from there, baka eventually, baka ma-move na lang siya to money heist pag natapos na lahat to. For example
Yeah.
lang, for in the future. But anyway.
But yeah, excited rin ako for Monday because I think I also have questions. Wow.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
Yeah, maganda yung sa Monday. It's for small businesses and
Pakay tayo,
generally
co-host ako nun.
anyone
Oo nga eh.
in-
Nako,
interested.
kailangan natin mag-subscribe. Kahit
Kailangan nyo
kailangan natin
Baka na ako.
unli.
kailangan kong mag-load. Hindi, pero ang sa Monday naman, as far as yung gusto daw ng mom ko ding gawin is i-compile lahat ng mga questions out. Tapos yung gagawin is parang basic, parang gagawin din ng parang basic na workflow ng lahat. Para, syempre, may konting timeline din. Parang konting patikim lang to. Parang trailer.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Okay, gutom na. Di ba kayo nagugutom?
Kumain,
Sakto,
baka
9:30
sakto
na.
lang. Ayan, sige. So, do you have anything else to share? Chawol?
Well, support Keys comeback.
Yes. Stream hate this on Monday.
Stream hate that on Monday
Ay,
before
hate that pala, mali pala ako.
hate that before the next water cooler session. And also just feel free to ask me questions rin about and then yun nga, like personally, like I'm of the conviction, like, if you can register as a freelancer, register na parang, I mean, like, it's also other than better safe than sorry, it's also like wala, like it's beneficial rin to like have for your ITR yung mga documents, and then helps you get better clients and stuff.
Sorry.
Sorry, what?
May naalala akong question pero it's very specific to me, but I guess I'll just ask it real quick. Paano kung kunyari hindi ka nag 2 years sa company?
Mm-hmm.
Tapos di ba yung ITR sinesend yun every year? What happens
Mm-hmm.
to the ITR that was piling up for the next year?
Okay. For example, kung nag-resign ka midway through the year.
Yeah,
Ganun.
so nag 1 year na and then magto 2 years na dapat pero nag-resign ka before you got to the 2-year mark. May
There's
mangyayari.
as far as I know, I think they're supposed to give you your
Parang may ITR pa rin na sinesend pero parang
Ah,
putol
may-
lang siya.
pero
ITR.
yeah.
Okay. Let our response be
Kasi,
HR na ba?
I think din yan if you transfer to other companies. So, they're in coordination din naman. So, you shouldn't worry. Assuming na hindi aso yung previous company mo, you should have your ITR intact when you transfer to your So, naman yun, coordinated naman. Parang magkakaroon ka ng dalawang ITR, yung dalawang prorated ITR
For that
first
year.
and the second half, o yung before you resign and after you,
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
in theory, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, in theory.
Okay. Naalala ko lang kasi na-mention mo ITR. And I was meaning to ask it earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And any other pahabol questions? Going once. Going twice. Okay, wala na? Okay. Okay, so thank you. thank you, bbshawol, for this session. And
Thank you also for inviting me.
yes, and also thank you to Beer Smuggler na kahit naubusan ka ng loads, yung my point moments.
Salamat sa mga additional
Nakikisagot ka
comments.
rin, yes, ng
Yes,
maayos.
thank you for that.
Okay. Ayun, sige. This will be uploaded pala for those who are asking kung recorded to. Yun lang. Thank you everyone for joining.